All right, we got something just a little bit different for you folks. Stick around and I will walk you through my trip to Montebello Rockfest 2018. This episode of the ABB Podcast is brought to you by these incredible sponsors. Okay, so a couple of months ago, I had our producer, Justice Hargrove, reach out to just about every festival that we could find in the area to see if we could find ways to connect. A few weeks ago, we heard back from Montebello Rockfest, so we spent a couple of weeks running around trying to find some sponsors to make us be able to go, and we were able to do it. So, to give you a little background on Montebello Rockfest, 2018 marks the 13th incarnation of this incredible punk and metal fest that engulfs the small town of Montebello, Quebec for one weekend every summer. The festival bills itself as Canada's largest rock festival, and its marketing points out that normally the town's population of 900 is outnumbered by the cows. The festival was started by the 17-year-old kid named Alex Martel, and the first one featured 3 bands and only about 500 fans. 13 years later, the festival features 3 stages, which is actually down from 5 last year, spreads over 3 days, and brings about 200,000 people to this little town. Okay, so Montebello, Quebec is this little town that sits almost right directly between Ottawa and Montreal. It's about an 8.5 hour drive, so I knew I wouldn't want to be getting there the day of. Festival started on June 14th, so I was going to leave the day before. Not a problem. How's it going, everybody? Well, it's the start of the adventure. There's my wife, my lovely wife. Say hi, everyone. So here's the deal. We were just hanging out over at Cantina Lounge, who is one of the sponsors for this trip, so we got to give them a shout out for sure. Went over there, had ourselves a little anniversary lunch. It was fantastic. Thank you guys so much for taking care of us. And now Okay, so one problem. June 13th happens to be my anniversary, and this year was our 10-year anniversary. Thankfully, my wife is cool enough that she settled on a lunch, and also thankfully, one of our sponsors was an incredible restaurant called Grand Cantina. Amazing lunch. Thank you guys for making me not look like a complete tool to my wife. All right, so we hit the road, and we headed up. We had a pretty decent trip up, actually. Only had to deal with one small hurricane. And almost had a collision on the way as well. Otherwise, it was a pretty decent trip. Once we did get past Toronto, pulled off to get some gas, and as soon as I pulled off, the car that was parked next to me, I knew right away they were going to the same place I was. And of course, we wanted to talk to them. Alright guys, what you just saw there was us driving through a monster rainstorm and then almost getting into a major accident. But what the hell, we made it all the way through to the other side of Toronto, and as soon as I stopped here for something to drink, I ran into these folks and knew damn well where they were going. How's it going, guys? Awesome. So headed up to Rockfest?
Absolutely.
Perfect. Where are you guys from?
Barrie. Victoria, BC.
And Barrie.
Nice. So is this is first Rockfest for everybody or no?
First for me.
First for you?
5th.
Nice.
4th.
4th in a row?
Yeah.
Nice. So give me a little clip of your experiences thus far over the last 4 and 5 years doing this.
Hazy.
Yeah.
A little less hazy. Hazy. Gonna try and stay a bit sober this year and remember a bit more.
Nice. Perfect. So who are we looking forward to this year?
Leftover Crack, Days and Days.
Rancid.
Rancid's a big one for me too, yeah. How about any of the headliners? Are you excited for the big ones, or you got punk rock kids?
I'm excited for Five Finger Death Punch.
Nice.
What else? Prophets of Rage.
Prophets of Rage will be gonna be interesting.
For sure. Prophets of Rage is going to be amazing. All right, that's that. Little quick stop on the way up. Thanks for hanging out with us, guys. Maybe we'll catch up to you while we're actually down there, too. All right, thanks. All right, see you later. Most of the trip was pretty uneventful, though I will say this. I have not had a chance to drive north of Toronto in quite a long time, and every single time I do, it reminds me what an incredible country this is. If you have an opportunity to drive through our country of Canada, make sure you take that opportunity when you have it. It doesn't come all the time. I've been lucky to do it a couple of times, and this trip really reminded me exactly why I love it so much. All right, I pulled into our campsite around 11 o'clock. And said hello to the folks that were around, and then I climbed into my bunk to start day one.
Well, made it. There's my bed for the rest of the adventure. Can't wait to get started tomorrow. Night, folks.
Well, I'm not going to lie to you, folks. Day one for me was a bit of a shit show. Woke up nice and early to go and check out my surroundings. I had never been to the town of Montebello before, and I knew there was a bit of a distance between where the media got together and where the festival grounds were, and I wanted to get sort of a lay of the land. So I went through a drive through the town, and the first thing that I noticed were campsites already kind of popped up just even on the side of the highway. People had thrown tents, people who were parked off to the side of the road, sleeping in vehicles, and some people had even combined the two and thrown tents into their vehicles. Once you got into the town proper, things were still open up in the morning, but you were able to see everybody was kind of out, the vendors were out putting up their booths and that sort of thing. The night before, as I had pulled into town, you could see the big light show and a little bit of a sound check. But here in the town proper in the morning, people were just out getting prepared for, for the festivities for the week. I wasn't entirely sure what I was going to be getting myself into that day, so I wanted to be prepared for just about anything. I packed up my backpack with every piece of equipment that I could possibly need for just about any situation, which basically means I had a 75-pound backpack on my back as I went to the festival for the first time. Now, where media gets together is at the Chateau Montebello. The Chateau Montebello is a beautiful, log cabin castle. It's a Fairmont hotel sitting in Montebello. That's where the media center was, and media parking was just, a little ways away from there as well. Shuttles were set up for us initially, but by the time halfway through the first day was gone, those things were basically gone and being used for the artist as they should be. That meant me and my 75-pound backpack were going for a walk. And boy, did we have a lot of walking ahead of us. The town, once the festival starts going, becomes really incredible. You find out very quickly that traffic backs you up, and it can take you up to an hour to drive even the couple of kilometers from my campsite to the media center. And once we got in the media center, it was pretty much all walking from there. The town itself, like I said, it's a quaint little town. It's got these beautiful little houses and hotels and stuff as you walk up. And they basically line the entire street with vendors getting ready for this festival. Once you got into the festival grounds itself, basically for my Windsor folks, it's about the size of DF Gardens. It's pretty huge. It's sitting right on the river. The big main stage is right up by the river, and the couple of stages, the other two stages are off to the sides, quite a distance away. So the festival grounds are pretty big, and in and of itself, it's about a half an hour, 45-minute walk from where the media center was. So by the end of day one, and the end of day one for me came pretty early, because within a couple of hours of carrying that backpack on my back, I needed to relax. I got back to my car, took the backpack off, started cramming it down to a couple of essential things that I might need, and then passed out. So after a couple of hours being asleep in my car, I woke up, looked at my clock, saw it was 8 o'clock, and quite frankly, I was worn out. It had already started to pour rain. I was beat up from walking around with a backpack, so I decided I was going to just turn the van on and head out and call it a day. Until So see, here's what happened. All through the day, as I told you, a little bit of rain was coming down. It basically soaked the entire fairgrounds, and it also soaked the media parking lot. So when I went to try to get out, van got stuck. Thankfully, the good folks over at the festival were quick to send some people over and tow me out, and all things were rectified pretty quickly. I headed back to the campsite, found a place to lay down, and I relaxed for the rest of the night. When I woke up the next morning, I was, I don't know, rejuvenated, I guess. I was feeling down from the day before, felt like I had kind of missed out on the day. I'll be honest with you, when I got back to the campsite, I was kind of ready to go home. But, some people had put their hands in their pockets for me to come up to this thing, so I thought I'd better go do my job.
How's it going, everybody? All right. Well, by the end of Friday evening, I was too burnt out to be able to do an end of the day post recap or whatever. So I figured I'd do my recap of yesterday and my my preview of today all at once. So yesterday, an incredible day down at the Montebello Rock Festival. So many bands that I have actually wanted to see my entire life and have never had an opportunity or passed up opportunities or whatever. Flogging Molly, Drop Dead Murphys, Mighty Mighty Bosstones is today, since we're doing previews and recaps. And I'm excited for that. Also Rancid last night, and I'll tell you, so one of the bands that I was so impressed with last night, and I mean, no surprise, like the world class, it's just not a band that I thought that I would necessarily be into. And Godsmack put on such an amazing show last night. So cool. I really dug that. Also, STP, the new formation of STP is fucking incredible. Like they pulled off their new singer, whose name I don't know, did a great job. Does a lot of has kind of the Scott Whalen look sort of thing, but definitely makes it his own. They've got a new album coming out, which I'm not sure if it's out already or it's coming out. They were talking about it last night. I'm kind of interested in checking it out to see what that formation is going to be like, because man, they put on a hell of a show. And then Prophets of Rage last night were the headliners, and oh my god, just all energy. Like I don't to kind of review these guys to me seems stupid, because like these are world-class musicians at a world-class festival. And it's I was talking to my wife earlier. This is the first time I've kind of done something like this out of my own backyard, and it takes a lot of getting used to, and there's bumps in the roads that you got to figure out. But by the end of last night, I was 100% into this.
All right, so really, outside of the video footage that I have for you of the bands and stuff, I don't have a lot to tell you, because really what it came down to was I spent some time trying to get some interviews, spent some time trying to get the lay of the land, mostly spent some time meeting some very, very cool people, and actually met some really cool festival organizers from some other festivals. So there might be some other opportunities coming up for that for us. So I figured what I'd do to kind of wrap all of this up for you is I'm going to show you some of the footage from the entire show. But you might have noticed earlier on we played some music, and we're going to play some music now too. This music is not copyrighted by any of the bands that played here. Here's what they do at the festival. There's a big sign that they have. I didn't happen to get a picture of it, but there's a big sign that they have where they ask you who you want to be on the festival next year. And I will tell you, the entire time that I spent walking around the festival, all the bands that I heard playing there, all I could think the entire time was there's one band from back home that really needed to be on those stages. So for those of you at Montebello Rock Festival and those of you at home, while you watch some of this video, you are listening to a band out of Windsor, Ontario called The Feedbacks. Make sure you check them out, and next year, get them on your festival.
Tell me why are you still standing here?
All right, folks, that's going to wrap it up for us from here. Thank you so much to Montebello Rock Festival and, of course, to all of our sponsors. This would not have been possible without the participation of all of you, and I am so grateful that I got the opportunity to go down and check all of this stuff out. I'm looking forward to more opportunities to do stuff like this, including coming up in a couple of weeks at Windsor Blues Fest. As we go forward, there will be lots more stuff that we look at like this. So if you dig this episode that we've done today, which is a little bit different than we normally do, please do us a favor and like and subscribe down there. You can also comment, and don't forget, while you're doing this, for right now, every subscriber has a chance to enter our date night competition. So if you want to know more about that, head on over to our Facebook. You can look us up at Facebook, Instagram, and here on YouTube. Just go to theavb.com. We'll always take you to our YouTube channel. And of course, you can check us out on all the other social medias. All right, I'm out of here, folks. I got to go rest up. Thanks for hanging out with us. See ya.